Hi, makers. Welcome to the Obsessed with You podcast. My name is Brandy. You can find me on Instagram as Abby and Bella's mom and on Ravelry as M. Weasley. How's everyone doing today? It's Tuesday, September 10th, and it's right about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. I live in Maine with my husband, our 2 daughters, and our mini dachshund, Daisy. Hopefully she's going to behave herself this afternoon while I'm recording this. She's actually right beside me in her dog bed. She was good yesterday when I tried to record this from my craft room. I had some issues last night when I was trying to upload it to YouTube. It just kept stopping. I was keeping a really close eye on it, but it just wasn't having it. So I scrapped it and said I will do it again now. However, one of my finished objects that I showed when I recorded yesterday, I no longer have. And I also realized I didn't take any pictures of them. I'm a little upset with myself. It's not the first time I've done that, so I'm hoping, I'll tell you about them, the finished object, but I'm hoping I can get my mom to send me a couple of photos so that I can post them on my Ravelry and on my Instagram. I had a nice 3-day weekend, which was great, which was perfect for wanting to record a new episode. So I had all day yesterday. It was great. And now I'd like to try to get this done before my husband gets home from work. I'm not in my craft room today. Where it's a little later in the day, that room does not get good natural light because the window is on the back of our house and we have a covered patio. So it doesn't get a lot of really good light. So I have to turn on all kinds of lamps. And it just, I don't know, it can get a little weird in there. So I just decided, I was sitting here since I've been home from work, and I decided I will just do this from my chair in the living room. I've got the rest of my bits around me that I wanted to share with you, so I'm just gonna go from there. So let's start with what have I been watching for new podcasts lately. I only have one listed. I started watching Little Drops of Wonderful with Allie. I've watched a few of her episodes and I'm really enjoying them. She's really funny and fun to watch. She's a knitter and a crocheter, so it's nice to see the crochet things that she makes. I do crochet some, actually a very tiny amount. I usually crochet my dishcloths, and that's about it. I am a very basic crocheter. So, yeah. But it's fun to see other people do it because it can get really fancy, just as fancy as knitting. I am getting really excited to watch some fall movies. I have a whole list of them, movies and shows, I guess. Well, are those considered shows or just specials? Stuff like Charlie Brown. I love Charlie Brown. The Halloween one, the Thanksgiving one, the Christmas one, even though that's not fall, that's winter. But I'm getting excited to watch all of those. You've Got Mail. I love that movie, and I always seem to want to watch it in the fall. Practical Magic, Hocus Pocus. They're all just great, fun movies to watch as the season changes. I keep looking down because my notes are right down here in front of me, so if you see me looking down, that's why. And I'm trying to kind of see about what needs to be tweaked from yesterday's recording to today's recording. I hope I do okay. Today has been, it's been a nice day. I mean, I've been inside for the majority of it. It was really chilly this morning. I think our thermometer said 41 degrees Fahrenheit. And I don't think it hit 70 today. And tomorrow, they're saying that it's supposed to be in the close to 80 and humid, and we might get a thunderstorm. September, pardon me, September in Maine. You never know what you're going to get. So it kind of makes getting dressed in the morning a little hard because it can be cool in the morning and then really hot in the afternoon. So you kind of have to do the layers thing. But pretty soon the leaves will start changing and everyone will want to be outside because it's a little cooler out. I'm looking forward to going apple picking. We have a favorite apple orchard that we've been going to since before my husband and I got married. We've been going to it, and it's so picturesque, and the people that own it are very, very nice, and we always seem to go on their open day celebration, so there's always lots of extra fun things to do. Carriage rides through the orchard, and there's someone there so the kids can, ride a horse. And I always like to get pumpkins and mums to decorate our front porch. And it's a good time. We have a really nice time going off as a family. We usually pack a picnic lunch and eat when we get there, and then we go and do all of our apple picking. Some years I even pick enough to make applesauce and apple butter, but I think I did that last year and I've still got a pretty good supply in the pantry. So I think this year it's just going to be picking for eating and maybe an apple pie, not my usual 6 to 8 large paper grocery bags. That's fun. What other things have I been up to? Well, I've been working, lots of working, which is fine. My daughter just started her freshman year at university, my younger daughter. So it's a little weird not having my girls at home. An empty nest it's okay, but I'd much rather have them home with me. So I look forward to when they do come home on the weekends. So let's get right into what I have to show you for finished objects. I only have 2 because, like I said, the third item I popped in the mail to my mom. I will tell you about them right now, and I can show you a picture of the pattern. I knit for my mom the Drippity Drop Socks, which is a pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. I love all of her patterns. I even made myself a binder specifically for my Bakery Bear patterns. So this, let me see if I can fold this back. And I actually have this pattern in color, which is shocking. I don't usually print in color. Can you see that all right? This is the Drippity Drop Socks right there. And this is a wonderful pattern to knit. The stitch pattern is super easy to memorize. It usually, I'd say you would have it memorized after 2 repeats, possibly after 1 if you're really good. But I knit it for my mom. She ordered some yarn with me from Knit Picks, and she wanted a particular green, so that's what I did. I ordered her a green. It was a really pretty tonal shade of green called Cully. It's part of their Hawthorne line of fingering weight yarns. I'm sure if you went to knitpicks.com and searched Hawthorne, you'd see it. But they they knit up rather quickly. My mom only wears a size 5 shoe, so they weren't huge socks to knit. I did knit them to pattern. I followed all of Kay's instructions right to the letter. And I'm really hoping that my mom likes them. She has admired my pair of Drippity Drop socks when she's come up to visit and I've had them on. So I'm really hoping she likes having a pair of her own. I did not tell her they were coming. So either today or tomorrow, she's going to give me a call to let me know she got them, and hopefully she likes them. My other finished objects, one is knitting and one is sewing. The knitted one I actually showed you last time. It wasn't a finished object then, but it was super close to being finished. But I wanted to show it to you now that it's all been blocked and everything, and not kind of squidged up on my needles. I am talking about the Rena shawl. Oops, there's a hair on it. I knit this using Life in the Long Grass in her anthracite colorway. And this is it. All blocked out. Although it has been on a hanger in my cupboard, so the bottom got a little squidgy. But it's not a particularly large shawl. That's it, which is kind of nice. I don't like them to be too big because then they get too bulky and I tend to get overheated a little too quickly. So this one is just right. So once we get a little bit more cool weather, I will be wearing this to work. I have another skein of her yarn. I think I mentioned before that will become a shawl at some point. So my sewing finished object is some bunting for my craft room. I've seen other podcasters, recording from their craft rooms and such, and I've seen pictures on Instagram of bunting, and it's just so sweet, and I really wanted to have some to hang up in my craft room. There's one wall in there that I just have a big round mirror on, and that's it. And I kind of wanted to give that particular wall just a little more something, and a nice pop of color I think would look nice. The walls are blue, but again, just with that mirror, and the mirror is just, there's no frame, it's just the glass. So I think this will help perk up that wall. My younger daughter, helped me select the different fabrics that I used for this, and she helped me kind of put them in order so everything had a nice flow to it. And then I just cut out a template and used it to cut out my fabric pieces, and it was super quick to sew and iron. And then I just used a wide grosgrain ribbon for the top bit. My fabric store, Joann Fabrics here in town, closed on Sunday before I could get there to purchase bias tape, which was my initial plan for the top of the bunting. So I went to my other craft store, AC Moore, and they didn't have bias tape in the white that I wanted to use. They only had blue. So I just decided to do the ribbon, and it actually worked out really well. So here is my bunting. I'm going to start at one end and just kind of go along and show you all the fabrics. There are 9 flags. Whoops. Set that end down, pick it up a little closer. There are 9 flags, which hopefully are going to fit along the wall that I want to hang it on nicely. Ta-da! My daughter wanted me to hang it along a different wall in my craft room, so we'll see. She told me I could hang it there and make her think it was there and then take it down and put it where I wanted to put it, which I thought was kind of silly because when she comes home for the weekend, she's going to see that I moved it. Crazy girl. So those are my finished objects. I know it's not much, and you missed out on the socks because I had to re-record. I do have more works in progress, however. I have 4 of them. They are all socks, and 3 pair are definitely for Christmas, and I guess the 4th pair could technically be for Christmas. They're for me. But the first 3 are definitely Christmas presents for my husband and our 2 daughters. The first pair I'm going to show you are the ones that I knit for my husband. I am still knitting them. In fact, they're only just started, really. These I've got in my cool Star Wars bag that I made myself. The yarn that I am using, I am doing a contrast heel and toe. Sometimes I do a contrasting cuff just so I can make sure that I have enough yarn, but so far I haven't run out of yarn when knitting socks for my husband. He does have big feet. Sorry for the jiggle there. He wears a 12.5 to a 13 shoe. But I found in the other socks that I've knit for him that I'm having plenty of leftover yarn. So I could probably do the whole sock without any contrasting parts, but I actually kind of like the way it looks. So this pair is getting, like I said, contrasting heel and toes, which I'm just doing with this navy, which is just a Knit Picks Stroll. It's a affordable yarn. It's a good yarn. I've used it many times and I've had no problems with it. So I'm just going to pop that in for his heels and toes. The rest of the sock is with some yarn dyed at my local yarn shop. She has a line of her own yarns that she dyes. And this one is on her Pemaquid base, which is her 2-ply fingering. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon, and this colorway is called Lily Bay. Lily Bay is a state park here in Maine, in western Maine, in Greenville on Moosehead Lake, and our family has been going there camping, well, for a long time. My husband and I have been together, oh gosh, I'm going to age myself right now. We've been together for, well, it'll be 30 years in November. I was just a teenager, a baby, when I met him. And yeah, so his family always went there, and now we've gone and done the same thing with our girls. But anyway, here is the yarn. It is very pretty. It's green and navy and a lighter blue, and then kind of a rusty orangey brown, and there's that golden color in there. I think it's a good masculine sort of color, and I definitely think my husband will like these. He has enjoyed the socks that I've knit for him so far. My goodness, this yarn is like all wrapped around my cable. Hopefully I don't make a mess. This is what I have so far. Let me turn it the other way. Oops, tail. Ooh. I'm not using a set pattern. I'm just doing a 2x2 cuff and then 3x1 on the leg. Knit 3, purl 1. So this is as far as I've gotten. I think I did 15 or 16 rows in the cuff, and then I've worked, I don't know, 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches on the leg. I was working on this last night while we were watching television. But yeah, I didn't get far. I was working on the socks, which I'll show you in a minute, for my other daughter as well. I was kind of like bouncing around my different projects. But yeah, so I really want to get, you know, really cracking on these because he has such big feet. I know they're going to take me a while. I have found that when I'm knitting on socks, if I have multiple pairs on the needles, and this was something I picked up from Dan Jones of the Bakery Bears. He suggested one time, because he had a couple pairs of socks on it at one time, either for his wife, Kay, or his daughter. And he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to knit one sock in the one pattern, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to do the other, you know, the first, he did the first sock for the one pair that he was making, and then he went and did the first sock for the second pair that he was making. And then he went back into the second sock and then the second sock. So it kind of broke up he was doing different patterns, so he was hoping that it would ease the second sock syndrome. And I thought that's a really cool idea. So I gave it a go, and it works. I've done it many a times, and it's pretty helpful. I mean, I don't do it all the time because I don't always have multiple pairs of socks on the go. Like when I was just knitting the Drippity Drop socks for my mom, I did have other socks on the go, but that pattern does not cause second sock syndrome at all. It's an amazing pattern. Very easy to just finish the first sock and pick up the second one and carry on. Excuse me for a second while I grab a quick drink. Ooh, that's fizzy. Just a little Pellegrino water. Woo! The second socks that I am knitting for Christmas, this pair is for my older daughter, and I am just doing a vanilla sock. Sorry, I'm looking around. I don't seem to have the ball band. I must have left it in my craft room. But that's okay. I can tell you what it is, and that's fine. I am using Felici sock yarn from Knit Picks, and this is their Cloudy with a Chance of Rainbows colorway. And again, I'm just doing a simple vanilla sock. I did a 2x2 rib for the cuff, and again, I don't like to do a super long cuff, maybe like an inch and a half. I find is a good length for us. I did cast on 56 stitches, and then when I finished the cuff, my first round of just knitting, I increased to 60 stitches, just because that's usually what I do for them, but the fewer stitches at the top helps it snug up around their little ankles. I am doing contrasting heel and toe when I get to it. I'm almost there. I have to measure this, which means I have to try it on. And I didn't want to try to do that at work this afternoon on my lunch break. But I'm pretty sure I should be just about ready to start the toe. Again, I'm not following a particular pattern. It's just a plain vanilla sock with a slip stitch heel. The one thing I have started doing since she made the tutorial is Kay Jones has this really cool tutorial video about picking up your gusset stitches in such a way that you eliminate the hole that can happen up here at the top. And I've been pretty successful so far with doing that. I haven't been getting holes. You know, sometimes you get a hole on one side but not the other. I've been doing pretty well to not get any holes. So I definitely will stick with her method of picking up stitches for my gussets. I mean, I know you can go back and stitch them shut, but doing this just saves that extra step. The heel and toe, I'm just using an undyed natural Knit Pick Stroll again, because it's good for that sort of thing. You pick up a few single balls and, you know, neutral colors that will go with anything, especially the cream, and it works perfectly. So that's sock number 2. Let me set this back over here. Sock number 3. Oh, I didn't show you the project bag that those were in. These are in my fall bag. This is from Leslie of Duckpool Lane. And this bag is super cute. I have 2 of her bags and I really like them. So it's a good size. You can do socks, a shawl. I like to knit toys for my nieces and nephews, and this bag is a really good size. Not too big, not too small for that. The socks that I am knitting for my younger daughter are in this fabulous bag. This is my Christmas bag from Little Bobbins, who's Danny, and she does such beautiful stitching on her bags. And then there's just her simple little stamping on the back, which I love. The pattern that I am doing for my younger daughter, Bella, I asked her if there was anything particular that she wanted. She's a little bit more picky than my older daughter, so I needed to ask her what color yarn she wanted her socks to be knit out of, and did she want a pattern or not. And at first she was interested in the Drippity Drop, and then I wanted to give her some options. So I showed her that pattern. I showed her the Prairie Sock pattern, which is also from Kay Jones. And then I showed her a third pattern, which I've knit for myself, and that's the one that she went with. And that is Hermione's Everyday Socks, which is just another one that is very fun to knit. I know lots and lots of people have knit it. They find it very easy to memorize, and just overall a fun sock to knit. And I feel the same way about that one, Hermione's Everyday, as I do about the Drippity Drop. It's just, they're just such wonderful patterns. I haven't gotten very far on these. I thought I was going to work on them last night after supper, and I just didn't, because I was working on the other 2 pair. But I will definitely pick these up this evening and work on them, because again, I want to really get a good start on my Christmas knitting so that I'm not frantic at the end. I did really well last year. I don't think I was frantic at the end. So I kind of want to stay on track with that. But this is all I've done so far. I haven't even finished the rib. I think I'm only about halfway. The pattern calls for 20 rows of 1x1 ribbing. And yeah, I think I'm only halfway there. The yarn that Bella chose is a Knit Picks yarn, and it's got little weird fuzzies on it. You'll be surprised, it's Stroll. She picked out this color. I hope you can see it okay. There's some bright light coming in from our picture window. There we go. The colorway is called Midnight Heather, and it's kind of, well, I mean, it's a dark heathered yarn, but it's kind of a greenish, blackish, bluish, maybe? I don't know. It's dark, which makes it super fun to knit with. It's fine. It's for my daughter. I'll knit whatever color she wants. I've knit with neon, so if I can knit with neon, I can knit black, or really dark, almost black yarn. Not a problem. So yeah, I am knitting all of my socks on ChiaoGoo needles, 2.5 for my husband and 2.25 for the socks for my daughters, and for the fourth whip, which is a pair of socks for myself, those are also on ChiaoGoo's 2.25. I actually went out and purchased a third 2.25 needle so that I could have all three pairs of socks for us on the needles at one time, and because I was super excited to start this pattern. This is a pattern, again, by Kay Jones. I adore the Bakery Bears. They are my absolute favorite, so you will hear me mention them a lot. This pattern is one for their patrons, which I am a patron of theirs, and this is part of this year's Platinum collection. And when Kay first talked about this pattern and what inspired it, her story was beautiful. I loved listening to it. I could picture it in my mind, and it just made me super excited for this pattern. And then she mentioned a little later on that she wasn't 100% sure if she was going to release it for certain reasons. And then she decided that yes, she was going to release it as part of the Platinum collection for patrons. And as soon as I saw them, I knew exactly the yarn that was in my stash that I was going to knit these socks with. And I haven't gotten very far, but I just know they're going to be beautiful, and I can't wait to finish them and be able to show you and Kay how they turn out. So this pattern is called One Moment in Time. And again, this is black and white because I don't print in color most of the time. It is super pretty. You can get these Platinum patterns from Kay. She's been doing them. This was the second year that she did the Platinum collection for patrons. This is over on Patreon. If you want to subscribe to that, you certainly can. They have so many wonderful things to offer their patrons. It's definitely well worth whatever subscription level you choose. They actually just started too, and this is for everybody, this isn't just for patrons, but they just started an audio podcast that they call the Bakery Bears Radio Show, and it's so much fun. They had their first, I guess, regular episode this past Friday. They had released 4 episodes before that just to kind of see how people were going to respond to it, if people were going to like it, if people were going to want more episodes. And I think it was a pretty big yes, we want more episodes. So this last one, which I guess was technically episode 5, they talked about the pyramids in Egypt and their thoughts on that. And it was really, really good. Dan had a few technical difficulties with his microphone, but honestly, there were only like 2 times when it was slightly difficult to hear him. Other than that, it was totally fine. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can, I think if you go to bakerybears.com, there's probably a link there as to how to listen to it. I found it just in the podcast section on iTunes, and it was right there, so it was easy to subscribe. They do it every other Friday, and it's on opposite Fridays from their regular video podcast. So now every Friday is a Bakery Bears Friday, and I think that's amazing. Okay, let me get back to my my One Moment in Time socks. I am knitting these with a really beautiful skein of yarn that I purchased, I think last year, I want to say. Sadly, this dyer is no longer dyeing yarn. I actually went to her Instagram page and I was kind of surprised, and I feel a little bad that I hadn't thought of it before, that I hadn't seen posts from her. But I feel like since she decided to stop dyeing yarn, there haven't been any posts. And I don't know, it just made me think, I hope everything is okay in her life. Yeah, so when I knit with this yarn, I think about her, and I do. I hope that everything is okay. So this is the yarn I'm using. It is Herbstlatt Regina. And I've tried on yesterday's podcast attempts to pronounce the name of the yarn. Colorway. I'm not going to do it this time. I'm just going to show it to you and you can sound it out yourself. It's in the red. And I think when I first saw this on her Instagram feed, I think it translated to something like Dancing with the Leaves or Dancing of the Leaves or something, but it had a very autumnal feel, which again, when Kay came out with this pattern, I instantly thought of this yarn and knew that the two were meant for each other. So this is the colorway. Oops. Isn't that beautiful? All the reds and the greens and the little flecks of yellow, and I think there's like a tiny bit of like a brownish orange just from where the red and the yellow kind of come together. But yeah, I think it's beautiful. And my ball winder has been behaving itself lately, which is good. I feel like people have been talking a lot about their ball winders not winding their yarn neatly, and I feel kind of bad, and I just keep crossing my fingers that mine doesn't decide to have a big misbehave moment. I mean, it has misbehaved in the past, but usually it's an easy fix. So, and it's nothing fancy. It's not one of those really nice wooden ones that I see that some people have. Mine is just from Knit Picks. I think it was like $20. I'm going to use it till it breaks. Maybe then I'll get one of the fancy ones. But this is how far I've gotten on the sock. Again, not very far. I have finished the cuff, and now I can move on to do the rest of the sock. Like I said, ChiaoGoo needles, 2.25, which is what the pattern calls for. So that is my fourth and final work in progress. I can get it back in the bag without stabbing myself with a knitting needle. The bag that my socks are hanging out in is this lovely bag from Matterroot. This is their small sock trundle, I believe it's called, or sock sack. She is local for me. She's actually only 2 towns away from me, which I thought she lived in the southern part of the state, but then when I ordered this bag and it came and I saw the return address, I was really surprised. It's kind of cool. So yeah, those are my my works in progress. I'm just going to keep knitting on them, try to get them done as soon as I can so that it frees up more of my time for other holiday knits. I do have at least one toy project planned. I'm knitting a Susan B. Anderson pattern for my great niece. They live, my nephew and his wife and their little one live in Southern California. So I can't really knit her a hat or mittens or socks or even a sweater, just because, you know, it's too warm for that sort of thing. But I can knit her a toy, and I absolutely love Susan's toy patterns. They are my favorites and I've knit quite a few of them. You can see my Instagram for proof of that. So what has come into my craft room for new things? Since my last podcast, only one bit of yarn. Trying to behave myself. But what did come is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I was just stunned when I opened it up. I do have to wrap it back up. This is something that I bought for my husband to give me for Christmas. Or if he's wanting to, he can give it to me for my birthday. My birthday's in November, and of course we all know when Christmas is. So I'll let him decide which one he wants to gift it to me for. But this is yarn from Lay Family Yarns. This is part of their Iron Bridge collection, which is a new collection, and I feel like it has something to do with the fact that they've actually opened up a shop, like a brick and mortar shop in England where they live. And she's posted pictures and videos of her shop on her Instagram, and it just looks amazing. I wish I could visit. I mean, I guess I could, but it's not like I could just hop in the car and go visit. And that's really what I wish I could do, is just hop in the car and go visit and buy more of her yarn and sit and drink tea and chat with her and knit, because her shop looks really pretty. And actually today I noticed on Instagram that she just did a yarn dyeing class, and she posted some really neat photos of the people that took the class and their finished yarn dyeing efforts. Yeah, that looked like a lot of fun. But this colorway is called the Iron Bridge, and this is a sock set. Oh my gosh. Oh, it looks even better today than it did yesterday when I recorded. Holy moly. Wow. I love my craft room, but like I said, it is a dark space. So I may just kind of make this my spot. Who knows? Until we do something different with our patio, if we ever take the little roof cover off the top of it, I don't think I'm going to get good light in there. But this light is perfect. It's really showing the richness of the colors. And this is going to make a beautiful, beautiful shawl. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. There are 365 meters in the 100-gram skein and 85 meters in the mini skein, which is 20 grams. I think 365 meters is somewhere in the ballpark of, oh, what is it? Is it 385 yards or 400 yards when you convert it? Something like that. Plenty for a pair of socks, even without the mini, but definitely I would think it's enough for a single skein shawl project as well. Kind of like the Raina shawl, that was the one skein project, and I had yarn left over from that. Oh gosh, that just reminded me, because I actually tucked that into a little basket that I have in my craft room. Something I almost forgot to tell you about that I'm participating in again this year. And the sign-ups just opened last weekend. Not this past weekend that we were just coming out of, but the one before that. Kelly from Lay Family Yarns is hosting once again the Lay Family Yarns Advent Yarn Swap. If you go over to her Instagram page, it's probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 posts back. If you want to sign up, you have until the 15th. After that, she will close the post and start pairing people up. You can select to have your partner in the same country as you, a domestic partner, or you can select for an international partner. It is super fun. Like I said, I did it last year for the first time. You swap 24 5-gram minis, and you use yarn from your own stash. So it's not like you have to spend a lot of money to participate in this swap. You can add in little extras to it. You can kind of zhuzh it up however you want to. Last year when I did mine, I bought one of those pretty reusable gift boxes from AC Moore, and then I decorated little envelopes and I wound the yarn onto little gift tags, and I wrote the colorway name of the yarn and who dyed it, whether it was an indie dyer or a commercial dyer. I included little things like tea and stitch markers and progress keepers and all sorts of other little things. And then my partner, Anne, hi Anne, we opted to swap for Christmas Day a full skein of yarn, which was really fun. And she gave me a beautiful skein of Rowan Fine Art. But it was a lot of fun, you know, just to have something to look forward to each day of December leading up to Christmas, a fun little package to open. Sometimes I would open them in the morning, or sometimes I would wait till I got home from work. And I put them all around my miniature Christmas tree that I set up in my craft room. And yeah, I think I took pictures of everything. But yeah, it was really fun. And now I have a really good start to minis for a Cozy Memories blanket or a Stitch in Time blanket. I'm not quite sure which pattern I want to use. I kind of keep going back and forth. But I have a really good mini stash to start from. So, of course, I'm excited about this year so that I can keep growing that stash. And I have lots of ideas for what I'm going to do as part of my Advent for my partner, whoever that may be. So if you want to participate, like I said, go over to Kelly's Instagram, Lay Family Yarns, and sign up for it. It's going to be lots of fun. Oh, and if you want to see what people have done in past years, the hashtag is Lay Family Yarn Advent Swap, and then you would just pick whether you want to look at 2018, 2017, and put that year in, and then all the pictures that were tagged with that hashtag will come up, and you can see the different things that people did for their Advents. So, okay, really quick, because I want to try to finish this before my husband gets home. Something that I picked up for myself when my daughter and I were out shopping for stuff for her dorm room, I started thinking that I wanted to have a planner for keeping myself on track with my Christmas knitting. I don't generally keep track of my knitting throughout the year, except for the holidays. That's when I really want to keep track of things, keep myself on schedule so that I don't run out of time, and also to kind of keep myself in check for utilizing my free time wisely. So we were in TJ Maxx, and like I said, we were looking around in the home goods section, and of course they had all kinds of planners and desk type organizational pieces and, you know, stuff that students are going to use in their dorm rooms. And anyway, I found this perfect small planner. It's not big. I can pop it right into my bag. That way, if I think of something while I'm at work, I can just easily pull it out, jot down what I want to jot down before I forget. And I'm not carrying around like a big book. Like the book that I keep my podcast notes in is, you know, kind of this big, and I didn't even want something that big. So I found this. It was the perfect size, great price. It was only $2.99, and it's got this really pretty leather cover. It does say 2020 because it is like a pocket-sized calendar for the whole year. It starts with July of this year and goes through, I want to say, like the first week of January 2021. Yeah, goes through January 3rd of 2021. So my holiday knitting plans for this year and next year are all set. And it comes with, there's this cute little ribbon sort of bookmark to kind of mark your place so you can find it easy. And then the pages for, the space for each day is, nice and big. The weekends are a little smaller down here at the bottom, but that's all right. I can just write a little smaller. It's not that big of a deal. So I've got this to help keep me on track, and I get my work schedule 2 to 3 weeks in advance, so I know what my days off are. I know what days I'm going to get out early, what days I'm going to be there a little later, so I can plan accordingly for my knitting. The other thing that I showed yesterday, I put it away, and I realized when I sat down and started recording that I forgot to take it back out of the cupboard. So I will do my best to remember to show that to you next time. It's a super sweet mug that I got Labor Day weekend when my husband and our daughters and I went to Bar Harbor, which is a coastal town here in Maine. It's a big attraction for tourists. Lots of shops and restaurants and just a good time. And we went there for the day, and I found this really sweet mug in the bookshop that we like to go into. So I think that's everything for today. I am going to continue with trying to record once a month. I think to get started, that's a good time frame. It gives me time to knit things, so I have, finished objects and new whips to show you and things like that, so I don't show you the same things over and over again. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I would think if I kept showing you the same pair of socks over and over and over again, you might get a little bored. And I don't want that. I want you to enjoy my episodes and spending some of your time with me, because I enjoy podcasts so much. I watch podcasts more than I watch regular television. They're just a lot of fun, and I'm obsessed with my knitting, and it's just nice to know that there are others out there that are just as obsessed as I am. So I hope you all have enjoyed today's episode. If you did and you want to give it a thumbs up, or if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that would be awesome. I've heard other podcasters say that the thumbs up and the subscribing puts the podcast in the sidebar so that more podcast viewers have the opportunity to watch it, check it out. So yeah, that would be great if you wanted to do that. If this turns out to not be something that you enjoy, then I thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I know there are lots of other wonderful podcasts out there, and I'm sure you'll find many to enjoy. So have a great week, everyone. Have fun with your knitting or your crocheting or whatever your craft favorite is that you enjoy doing. Have fun with all of it because it's all wonderful. I will see you again next month. And until then, take care. Bye.